we got one more.
Carolina? Anyone? Carolina.
Once again, welcome everybody to the Darien Pride Celebration. So honored to be here today. Our program will be getting underway in about 15 or 20 minutes.
Showing up, but for pivoting with us with what turns out to be an odd day. We just really didn't want most of you to get hit by lightning. So thank you for pivoting and coming and joining us. Thank you to Triangle Community Center, our fiscal sponsors, for helping us out with this event. It certainly would not have been possible also without the Depot. The Depot, I don't know, I can't even list all the wonderful things they do for this town, and here's another one, so thank you very much. I'm not going to welcome you here because for those of you who are not from Darien, we don't have a mayor. It's not because like they left, it's just that's our system of government. We have a first selectman, even if it's a woman, which it is. And so to give us a proper welcome, I would like to ask Monica McNally to join us on the stage and say a few words.
Wow. Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here. I am so glad whoever weather for outside, was able to take care of the rain. And I want to say a thank you to Dan and his whole team. I am grateful they were able to bring this to our community. Really, you've all heard me say this before, but this town runs on volunteers, right? And Dan Guller and the Pride Committee, a huge thank you. I want to say that one of the reasons we're all here today because we believe in the importance of equity and inclusion. We're here to demonstrate to everyone in our community, especially our children, that we will support each other no matter what we look like, where we are from, or who we love. We know there's still a lot of work to be done in our country and in our town. But today, let's just start. Let's let this event reflect who we are. Everyone is accepted, welcomed, and respected in Darien. And this goes to show that. So thank you.
So, when we found out yesterday morning that there was a threat of lightning, and we realized we needed to pivot and do something different, we reached out to a few people. One of them was Monica, and she worked hard to look at alternate spaces for us, and I want to thank you, Monica, again for your hard work with that. And then I also reached out to two of our churches that I knew would answer the call. One of them, Reverend Ryan Fleener from St. Luke's. They've got a huge art exhibit right now at their church, so their space is a little limited. But then I also reached out to Anthony Weissman of First Congregational Church of Darien. I am overwhelmed at their ability to host us at a moment's notice, and I would like to invite Anthony and Ryan to please come up and join us and say a few words.
So I'm Anthony, I'm the pastor of this church, and I know anybody any day would rather be outside than in a church, so it's so great to have you here though, and truly we couldn't be happier, our congregation couldn't be happier, more proud to have you here in this house. Our doors are always open. My husband and I, we just moved here 4 months ago, and you doing this and you showing up makes us feel like a part of Darien. So thank you for being here, thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Dan, and thanks to Anthony for hosting us. My name is Ryan Fleener, I'm at St. Luke's. And as I was thinking about this, my husband, Dan, and I moved out about 2 years ago. And I grew up in the South, in a church that this would have been impossible to imagine. And when I look out and I see our kids and the message that this sends, that no matter who you are, no matter who you love, you have a place in this community and that you are loved by God, there is not a better message than that. So thanks for being here.
Just a show of hands, who here goes to First Congregational? If you've got, thank you for welcoming us to your home. I really appreciate it. Our congressman, Jim Himes, is always been a supporter. He has always been an ally. He shows up at Pride events, even when he's not invited. He's just there. His office flew a flag over the Capitol on my husband and I on our first wedding anniversary. We've got that hanging on the wall. He's a definition of a mensch and an ally. Please welcome Jim Himes.
Thank you, Dan. A big thank you all for for being here. It is so gratifying for me to stand here, as the pastor just said, to see people at every level of government, federal, state, municipal, Democrats, Republicans, reverends, business leaders, community leaders come together to say, we stand with you and we support you. So thank you for being here. If you work where I work and do what I do, you look hard for those things to feel good about, to celebrate. And this is truly one of them. The pastor referred to this. 50 years ago, gay Americans were forced out of their jobs. They were denied their dignity. They did not have the legal rights that every other American has. When I was in high school in the 1980s, the idea that there would be an LGBTQ club was inconceivable in my high school. And here we are in a room full of young people with energy, with representatives of all part of our community saying, we stand with you in the state that was one of the very first states to pass marriage equality. And with public officials who will stand with this community. A big thank you first to the people who fought that fight over many generations, whether it was Stonewall or the work in the courts, but especially a huge thank you to all of the young people who are going to pick up this torch and make sure that this country stays true to the notion that no matter what your skin color, what your religion, or who you choose to love, you get equal rights and dignity. Thank you, everyone.
Our next guest needs no introduction. I'm kidding. He has been a senator for Darien and Norwalk for the last 70 years, something. And he works out. And he's our Senate Majority Leader. He is our friend. Please welcome Bob Duff.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see everybody out here today. Let's give another hand to Dan and everybody who worked today to get this event together. We were so fortunate yesterday. We had a wonderful Pride event in Norwalk, and that brought people from all across the state of Connecticut. I think having a Pride event in every community is really important. As the congressman said, it sends a message that if you're loved here, you're welcome here, and we want you here. And so having an event in Darien, the very first Pride event, I just want to say thank you for doing that and for bringing out everybody here today. Whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, questioning, you're welcome here. I will just say this, that Connecticut is a great place to live. We always knew that. One of the most consequential votes I was happy to vote in favor of was gay marriage, was same-sex marriage, because we believe in equality here in the state of Connecticut. We believe in equality. But it's more than that. It's more than just being for something. We're also going to make sure that we never allow votes that take away people's rights. We're always going to protect our transgender friends. We're going to make sure that they're not discriminated against, that we're working hard for everybody here in the state of Connecticut. And that means our lesbian, our gay, bisexual, questioning, transgender, anybody who's out there, we will protect you and we will make sure that Connecticut is always a place where you want to live. So thank you everybody for being here. Thanks to this wonderful congregation. Thanks to my elected officials who are here, both parties. But we'll make sure we stand with you. And to our young people here, keep fighting. There's still a long way to go. And we know that you can lose rights in a second. So make sure that we don't lose those rights. You keep pushing, you keep working, you keep voting, you keep doing everything you need to do. Thank you so much.
All right, I have to be honest, our next speaker, I don't know very well, but I know that she showed up. Please welcome Lieutenant Governor Susan Visor.
All right. Hey, Darien, what a colorful and beautiful room, and thank you so much for making this very welcoming celebration. We just had a beautiful Pride Parade with 25,000 people in my hometown of Middletown, so I invite you next year. Governor Lamont and I are so proud of our state. We are a welcoming state. And when we took office in 2019, I asked the state capitol police if they would raise a pride flag. And the answer that first came back was, no, we only put flags of other countries up. And so, with a little bit of influence from the governor in 2019, we had the first pride flag flying over our beautiful Capitol dome. And since then, we've made some great progress for our state. We just announced a new campaign to bring tourism to our beautiful, welcoming state. Find Your Vibe. Have you seen it? It's got a beautiful pride flag in the background because we want people to feel welcome in our state. And we're so happy for the collaboration that we have with our state legislators who passed the Parentage Act a year ago to make it easier for gay couples to adopt children in our state. And there are little things like on the Connecticut driver's licenses, DMV now has a non-binary option, right? So we have so much more to keep doing. Connecticut has led the way since the Kerrigan's case when we were the first, one of the first states in the country to recognize gay marriage. And we know, though, that our rights are under attack because if you had the opportunity to read that terrible draft decision in the Dobbs case that was leaked, make no mistake, it's not just women's reproductive rights that are at stake. They specifically mentioned the Obergefell case that made gay marriage legal across our country. That is in danger too. So I leave you with this. In November, when you vote, do your research. Make sure you know where all of us stand, and make no mistake that Governor Lamont and I stand with inclusion. Thank you all so much.
All right, thank you very much. Our next guest, when I had the menorah lighting back in November, she was the first politician to respond yes. When we were planning this event, she was the first politician to respond yes. So with much gratitude, please welcome Terry Wood.
Thank you, Dan, and it is a joy to be here. I'd also like to shout out Jamie Stevenson, who's also here, who certainly led the effort at Tilly Pond for the menorah and a number of gay rights issues and platforms there. So thank you. And certainly to Ryan Fleener, certainly a big warm spot in my heart for all his wonderful work at St. Luke's Parish. 1966 was the first celebration of a Pride event in Los Angeles. And this is 56 years later, and I think the improvement and progress has been significant. Darien is extremely welcoming to everyone, and we're joyful that this celebration is taking place. And I'm thrilled to be here. And also, is Garrett Bucas here? Garrett Bucas and Brad Bucas have founded the first Connecticut chapter of Log Cabin Republicans. And I know they're planning on being here, so if they're here, just shout out and say hello to everybody. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and thank you so much, Dan.
All right, let's see, where is Matt? There he is, okay. Matt Blumenthal, he is our representative from Darien and Stamford. We are about to lose him because of redistricting. Stamford is keeping him all to themselves, but we still get him for a few more months. So let's make the most of it with Matt Blumenthal.
Thank you, Dan. And it's been such a pleasure to represent Darien, and I will, if I'm re-elected, of course, continue to consider myself a Darien representative, even though I'm officially losing you. It's been a long road for LGBTQ rights in America, and it's not done yet. And I think it's especially appropriate that we're gathering for this Pride event on the 55th anniversary of Loving Day, of Loving versus Virginia in 1967, in which the U.S. Supreme Court first said that there was a nationwide right to interracial marriage. And it's only been 55 years in the U.S. that's been the case. It's only been 19 years since Loving versus Texas, when the right to same-sex intimacy was established. It's only been 7 years since Obergefell versus Hodges, when the right to marriage equality was established. These rights have been hard fought, and we owe a great debt of gratitude to the activists and advocates who made it possible. So let's give them a round of applause right now. It's important that we acknowledge that, because the fight does not just go in one direction. There are always forces looking and trying to drag us back into that dark place from which we came, and we cannot let them do that. So you being here is so important. It sends a message to every person in Darien, in our state, in our country, that we accept, we love LGBTQ people, because love wins, but it doesn't win on its own. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for standing up for our LGBTQ brethren, and let's continue this fight together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Pat, do you want to? All right. So our newest senator from the other side of Darien, Pat Bailey Miller, won a special election, and then won an actual election last fall. So she's our newest senator and is a fantastic advocate both for Stamford and Darien. Please welcome Pat Bailey Miller.
Thank you. Dan, I haven't won yet. It's this fall that I'm looking for an actual election. I want to say thank you to you for putting on this event, but also the menorah. It was so inspirational, and I sent you an email. You know, back in the 80s, I went to my first Pride parade on the Castro in San Francisco. And I learned something there. What it taught me was that we as Americans discriminate against individuals. We judge individuals not by their character, and I always say this, what Martin Luther King says, not by their character. We judge them on their outward appearance, and we judge them on their beliefs. And my colleague Matt just said something, and I read it when I came in today, that Jesus loves everyone. Our world would be different if we love everyone for who they are and what they believe in, if it's the right thing. We shouldn't discriminate against people because they choose to live their lives a different way. And that's what I'm looking for in this world, is that we judge people on their character and then the things that they do to make this world better. And that's what it's all about. And I think that that's what when you say Pride, the Darien Pride celebration, this is Pride celebration of who we are and what we believe in. So I want to thank all the organizers. I want to thank you for today, because you're showing our young people that we believe in them and that they are the future for tomorrow. They are our tomorrow, and that they too should not be judged they should be judged by their character and not necessarily what they believe in, and I should say who they choose to love. So again, it is about love, and our world would be a better place if we loved everyone based on who they are as an individual. So Dan, thank you, because you are the epitome of what it is to love thy neighbor. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Miller. You know, we've got a couple of singers coming up next that I'm very excited about. I got to tell you, growing up as a little gay boy in Missouri, it was difficult because I didn't have the vocabulary to speak to what I was feeling. And I didn't have people around me that would tell me it was okay what I was feeling. And it wasn't until I found the high school theater department that I found my people. That's right. And you know, this event is fantastic, but I didn't do this for me. My family loves me. I've got a gorgeous blonde-haired son around here. I've got a gorgeous purple-haired husband back there. And I did this for the kids that are questioning, that don't know, that haven't found their people. And if that's you, I want you to look around, because these are your people. We are your people. Do not forget that. All right, here's two more of your people singing a song from Dear Evan Hansen. Please welcome, from Darien High School, Stephen Sarusi and Nikki Conda.
Early June, this picture perfect afternoon. Two friends, true friends, on a perfect day.
Wait a minute. Louder, longer, how? I think I need some more tissue. Oh. We have an award ceremony coming up?
We do. Did you
All right.
say something?
I just want to take 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds out of the day here. First of all, my name is Sean Big Daddy McKee. I have the honor of entertaining all over the United States because I get to do one thing that a lot of people don't get to do, and that is spread love. I do weddings, I do this. Today is the culmination of a long, whatever the case may be. I am blessed with 2 sons who married 2 amazing women, and I have 6 grandkids. My kids, my daughter-in-laws, and my grandkids are taught one thing. We're all in this together, and everybody is accepted everywhere. We should never, ever have to do something because everybody should be included in everything we do. Because right now, this world needs to smile as loud as we can each and every day. This is the thing I live by every day. Get up in the morning and high-five the person to your left. I want you guys to high-five the person to your left and the person to your right. Because right now, we're all going to know everybody. And if you forget everything that I've ever said, and you probably will, remember one thing. Big Daddy loves you.
All right. So we have our Voices of Pride Award right now. Before we do that, I just want to thank a couple more sponsors. Baywater Properties in the Corbin District. They were in it from the beginning. They were right in there and have been helping us every step of the way. Also, the Clark Group at Merrill Lynch. They've got their new offices right above 1020 Post. And also DR Bank. The first person I asked for money was the first person to give me money, and that was DR Bank. So thank you for their sponsorship. And now I'm going to hand things over to my partner, Krista.
Thank you. Is Maggie here yet? Maggie? Oh, get up here, girl. Okay, if you guys want to come up on the stage, that would be great.
Louder, hello.
You got here. Okay, thank you. So I'm Krista Carnes, born and bred in Darien, and so thrilled to be back and raising my kids here, and this is so amazing, so thank you all. This day, June 12th, marks the 6th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida. One of the deadliest of our nation's history, and one that specifically targeted LGBT plus community. On that day, these four young women were in 6th grade, if I have my math right. Stop, maybe not, but they've grown up at a time when so many forces have challenged them, not only as members of the LGBTQ community or as allies, but as women and just citizens. And in the face of challenges, they have grown into strong, capable people who use their voices to advocate for change and support our community and other historically marginalized groups whose voices still struggle to be heard. So we want to give them their crowns. I am here to introduce you to Emma DeGraff, Maggie Ramsey, Giselle Weingart, Olivia Punischel. They're all about to graduate from Darien High School. We are confident they will continue their work. But this past year, they've each served as champions for change within the Darien High School community and beyond. Specifically around safety and validity of student identity and the freedom to live and learn in an atmosphere where hate is not tolerated. On October 12th, These four sheroes addressed the Board of Education and the community through public comment at a BOE meeting. They shared their personal experiences with the hate and intolerance. They shared their sadness and their anger for the current climate of discrimination they and their friends were dealing with. And they shared their thoughts on actions needing to be taken to those with the power to make vital change. Their comments were pure advocacy. From Emma DeGraff, I don't want to keep this conversation at bay and call it something political, because what I feel right now up here and what I feel listening to my friends, that's not political. That's fear and anger and sadness. I hope you can hear the young voices that are speaking tonight and you can show us that you care. From Maggie Ramsey, I can no longer ignore what's happening. School is a place where you're supposed to escape hatred and where you shouldn't have to worry about being hate crime when you're just trying to learn. I'm asking you to hear us out and give us our hope back. Libby Punishall, Darien needs to be an environment where all students feel safe and valid in their identities and also feel like they have a support system that will appropriately respond if they become a victim of hate. We must be more conscious of word choice. In our discussions as a school and a community, we must be more blunt about what is and what isn't. We need to use the words as loaded as they are: racism, sexism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, bigotry, and more. Call it what it is. If we want this community to be uplifted and united, we must take the actions towards change and progress ourselves. Given their passionate advocacy and commitment to representing the voices of the LGBTQ community, we are honored to honor them today at today's inaugural Darien Pride celebration and recognize them for what we've termed their voices of pride. In addition to these lovely crowns donated by the Darien Gardner Center, a donation in each of your names was made to the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which seeks to, quote, empower individuals to find their voice, to create change, and challenge communities to identify and address hate that lives within our schools, neighborhoods, and homes. In a moment, these intelligent, strong, committed young women will share a few words, but let me close by sharing one more anniversary note. 6 years ago, on this date, Lin-Manuel Miranda accepted his Tony Award for Hamilton with this speech, inspired by the Pulse nightclub shooting that happened that day, and which seems very relevant. He said, in part, "We choose the melodies that seem to find us, until they are finished songs and start to play. When senseless acts of tragedy remind us that nothing here is promised, not one day. This show, this event, you people, is proof that history remembers. We live through times when hate and fear seem stronger. We rise and fall in light from dying embers. Remembrances that hope and love live longer. And love is love, is love, is love, is love, cannot be killed or set aside." And just lastly, our Darien neighbor and an accomplished artist, Aisha Wilson, check her out, has created this original piece of art inspired by Miranda and also her vision of an evolving blue wave. Each of you will receive a high-quality art print to take with you on your journey forward as a way to remember the differences you've made in Darien by inspiring all of us to call for change, progress, and love by using our voices. So thank you all. Who wants to go first? All right, so, and maybe with much pleasure, this is Giselle Wynn.
Looks like I've been nominated to go first. So, hello everybody and welcome. I am so grateful for the wonderful parents and leaders who have helped make this event possible today. May it be the first of many more to come. Before I begin, I would also like to recognize the immense privilege it is for us to all be celebrating here together. How lucky I am to be standing in front of you, adorned in rainbows, feeling safe and welcomed. Let us not only celebrate for ourselves, but for those who are unable to. those who could be arrested for showing public affection with someone of the same sex, those who've been excommunicated from their families and communities for the simple act of loving. I would like you all to join me in a round of applause and cheers for those who cannot celebrate this month, this year, or ever. Let us be prideful for them as well. Side note, so many of the wonderful adults here today have paved the way for my friends and me to be here on the stage, and we could not do this without you, and we are so incredibly grateful, so thank you. Living with bisexuality means living split in two. At least that is how people perceive me. The pressure to identify myself has followed me since the day I declared that I am not straight. The first question I was asked was what label I identified with. There were so many options, all with different definitions. Sometimes the meaning can vary simply based on the person you ask. How can you identify yourself with something that you don't understand? But the pressure got to me, and when I came out to my parents, I came out as bisexual. Never mind that my head was swirling with anxiety. Never mind that I had spent the last 6 months questioning everything I thought I'd known about myself. Never mind that at this point I did not see myself as bisexual. They had to understand me. But how could they do that when I didn't understand myself? Gloria Anzaldúa, in her novel La Frontera, the New Mestiza, explores the narrow... you know. Shout out to Ms. Boston, who gave us this book in our Women in Fiction class. The narrow... She explores the narrow-mindedness of society when it comes to labels and identity. Quote, "What we are suffering from is an absolute despo-duality that says we are able to be only one or the other. It claims that human nature is limited and cannot evolve into something better," close quote. Complexity is seen as impossible rather than genuine, which begs the question of what society truly values in the end. In recent years, there has been a social movement to promote realness. Especially in the age of social media, many claim that the falsehood spread through perfectly posed pictures are detrimental to the mental health of the general population. But hypocrisy seems to be the undertone of this movement, considering the idea that when people finally do share who they truly are, they're so often met with judgment and criticism. I have been made to feel that two halves do not make a whole. Why must I simply pick one? Why must I be stereotyped for picking both? Why is it assumed that I cannot be happy with one, that I must always have both, and am therefore disloyal? Why am I not trusted? Distrust is a prevalent theme in Taylor Jenkins Reid's Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, as the main character Evelyn navigates labeling her sexuality in a world that is not ready to accept her. Upon hearing about Evelyn's relationship with her lover Celia, character Monique automatically assumes that Evelyn is a lesbian, to which Evelyn replies, quote, "I'm bisexual. Don't ignore half of me so you can fit me into a box," close quote. I can feel this quote. I can taste it, I can sense it, I can imagine it tattooed across my chest. And I would endure every pinch of that needle if I could make people understand that I will not be put in a box either. Because the walls and lines of the box ebb and flow. The sides do not remain the same size, nor are they often at an equilibrium. My box is whatever I want it to be. How would we see each other if we truly acknowledge what was there? Sometimes the truth is ugly, but at least it is the truth. The ability to see people for who they truly are could turn the crisis of loneliness on its side. People need to be represented, need to be seen. This is an example of being represented and seen. This is one of the most astonishing things I've ever seen in this town in my 18 years. And I teared up when I walked in here because this is just incredible. So thank you. So speaking of people needing to be represented, this is why you find me quoting several works of literature today. It is where I have found myself. Brit Bennett's novel, The Vanishing Half, strikes a chord in the discussion of a complex identity. There are more people who have a vanishing half to them than we might think. Bennett writes, quote, "You could live a life this way, split, as long as you knew who was in charge," close quote. But I do not feel that either the straight side or the gay side of me is necessarily in charge. Just because I am in a wonderful heterosexual relationship does not mean that my other half has disappeared. I have now claimed the label bisexual in full, but I have done so on my own terms. For the longest time, I felt that others needed to see me, and I let that overtake the fact that I did not even see myself. But for people to see others as who they truly are is to see ourselves in the same light. How often we push aside these parts of ourselves that we think will not be accepted. To everyone here today, especially the young queer people, I want you to know that there are going to be people who demand to know exactly who you are. And I am here to tell you that you do not owe them an answer. 1 second, I lost my thing. I very well may have never come to the conclusion of a label for myself, and that would have been perfectly fine. A special person in my life has recently confided in me that they are not sure who they are right now, and that is as much cause for celebration as it is to adorn an identifying flag. For those who do not feel seen, I see you, I hear you, I was you, and I wish you a lifetime of happiness where you are simply able to enjoy the blessing that is you. Thank you for being here.
Everyone, I'm Emma. I did not print out what I wrote, so I'm going to be looking at my phone, but I'm very much paying attention to what I'm doing. I think it's a common misconception about Pride that it's about celebrating being queer or being different from everybody else, and that's the way I looked at Pride as first. But I really don't think that's what Pride is about. Now I think something different, and I think it's especially important for the younger members of the audience to hear this. We aren't celebrating Pride because we're different. I'm not different. You are not different. Your sexuality does not make you different. It's the obstacles that we've had to overcome and still have ahead of us that make our experiences different. We celebrate Pride because of every extra struggle that we've had to endure, every extra hurdle we had to jump over to get here. We celebrate Pride because we know that there are going to continue to be times and places where we won't get the respect or the acceptance that we deserve. But who you love and who you don't doesn't make you any different. It never has, and it never will. What does make you different is your character, and today we are celebrating exactly that. Those of you who are so bravely open with your identities, even knowing this, today we're celebrating you. Those of you who aren't out for personal safety reasons, we celebrate you and the endurance that you've shown. We celebrate with our allies who aren't afraid to come out here and stand alongside us, defending us, fighting with us. We celebrate with you today for choosing love. Today we celebrate persistence, resistance, and existence in a world that has tried to tear us down. And I'm so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. Keep spreading the love and making that change. Seeing everybody here today it made me really, really happy. And I never could have expected something like that. Oh my God, I'm crying again. I just want to say thank you to all of the family, all of the friends, and all of the strangers, all of the people in government that made all of this happen. It has made a world of difference in my life, and I hope in all of the young kids' lives that are here today. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Ramsey and I'll be graduating Darien High School in a few days as long as I can find my freshman year math textbook. In past events I've spoken about some rough experience I have had being bisexual in Darien, but that is not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about pride. Pride in being yourself and pride in being your community. During my capstone class this year, a boy I absolutely adore asked me a question which I thought was a very good one. He said to me, "Maggie, I'm not trying to be offensive at all," which of course I knew because that was never Ryan's intention, but I feel like gay people always talk about how they're gay. Like I feel like it shouldn't be a big deal. I stopped and smiled because this was a great question that I had always wondered until I came out too. I said to him, when you were younger, at sleepovers with guys, did you guys ever talk about the girls that you had crushes on? He nodded. And I said, well, I never got to tell the truth at those things. I had to sit in a room full of girls and lie and said I liked some random boy just to fit in. I could tell he was catching on, but I continued. I asked him, have you ever been super excited about a crush you had and told your parents or siblings? He nodded again, and I said, I never got to do that as a kid. The life I was living before I came out, I could not even mention the word gay or bi. When you keep something a secret for so long and then finally muster up the and then finally muster up the courage to tell people, you want to shout it from the rooftops. You want to finally be able to talk about everything you could not talk about before. It is like throwing a surprise party for your friend. You have to keep it a secret until, of course, the party starts. Then once it starts, you are posting about it or telling people how fun it was. One of the hardest struggles I have had to overcome is being proud of who I am. From a young age, everything in life is straight. I was never read any kids' books about two moms or two dads or about identity in general. Anything I was ever told about anything regarding the LGBTQ plus community was normally negative or that these people were different and weird. I was also aware that the church I was a part of thought that queer people were different and they were not accepted. I was never exposed to any diversity, so when I started liking girls, I was very confused and scared to say the least. Because there was no education on what I was feeling, I started hating this very big part of me. I had no pride in myself, and my full self was hidden from the world for so long. There was so much self-hatred and just agony I had to live with. I knew my family would accept me, and they have been absolutely amazing. They even make me a pride cake every year. But I knew the world as a whole would not accept me. After I started coming out to people, I realized that this is a huge accomplishment that I should be proud of. No one should ever have to hide a part of their identity, whether it be something small like being an athlete or an artist, or something bigger like your sexuality, ethnicity, religion, or race. No one should have to hide who they are and be ashamed of that part of themselves. Yes, Pride Month is technically for queer people, but every month should be Pride Month for everyone. Yes. Everyone's differences and similarities should be celebrated and accepted. As I close this speech, I want to leave you with this. If you are straight and have any queer friends, go wish them a happy Pride Month because it truly means a lot and it is something that should be celebrated. I also want to encourage straight people to continue asking questions about the queer community. People fear what they do not understand. The more we talk about being queer, the more accepted it will be. Even if you feel like it's a stupid question, or is awkward, or could somehow be offensive, please ask away. I'm extremely proud of my friend Ryan because I knew it was probably uncomfortable asking that question in front of a whole English class. I think because we've had conversations like this, we have become a lot closer. To my fellow queer people, allow these questions to come your way. Understand that people might not have the knowledge or understanding, so help them gain this knowledge. Do not make them feel stupid for not understanding something because sexuality is a very confusing thing in general. It is our job to educate our straight friends and make them feel more comfortable asking questions. Knowledge is power, and the only way to change the world is to make knowledge more accessible. Having these conversations with my friends makes me feel normal and loved because they want to understand more about what makes me, me. So thank you to my friends and family who want to know more about me and the queer community. Everyone should be proud of who they are. Happy Pride Month, everyone.
I promise I'm the last one, and then we're done. So I didn't write anything in preparation. I'm going to work off the cuff here, so bear with me. I want to start with a thank you to our amazing organizers who have been putting booths together for weeks, sending out texts, getting people informed, making signs, donating money. I thank you all for all of the amazing work that you did to put this event together. And what has really shined to me about the people organizing this event is a lot of them have been adult allies. And what I find so beautiful about that is there's something amazing about Pride events bringing queer people together to celebrate our identities. But what I love about this crowd is that there's so many allies here. And without you guys, this event wouldn't have been possible. And I just thank you guys for all of your support, because you're such a key part of making us feel seen and celebrated. Now, growing up in Darien, when you're queer, it's hard to feel like you're going to be normal or going to be accepted, because we've never had events like this. This is the first time in my 17 years living, or being alive, like 11 living here, that we've had a Pride event. And as a result, there have been so many students that I've talked to who haven't felt like they would be safe coming out. And even ones with good support systems. I grew up with 3 amazing parental figures who always made sure that I knew that I would be loved and accepted no matter what. And I still didn't feel like this was a time that I would be able to come out and feel safe. And I'm really, really hopeful that the young kids who are at this event today won't ever have to feel like that, because they see so many people around them willing to support them. And parents who brought your kids here today, I thank you so deeply for showing them that they're going to be okay. Now, like I said, despite the fact that I have a mother out here adorned in a Proud Ally shirt, just to show kids that you support them. I hope that it's enough to show them here today that their community accepts them too, that students who weren't allowed to make it out here today, who didn't feel like it would be safe for them, they're gonna go to a school that's adorned in every Pride flag for every label. And this is the progress that makes me really hopeful. Because normally when I make speeches like this, I get a little preachy. I tell people to go out and volunteer and come to marches and go to protests and donate and volunteer. But you guys have all already taken that first step just by coming here today. And I just want to encourage you to keep on going. No matter what cause you feel is important to you, there's Pride, there's March for Our Lives, there's Roe v. Wade, there's all of these amazing things. Getting involved is so important, and you guys have clearly felt that spirit just by coming out here today, and I'm so happy to see everyone getting involved, because it makes me hopeful that change is brewing and change is being brought forth. And just before I sign off, it's so important when you're getting involved and when you're fighting for a cause that's important to you to realize that it's not about us. And for all of the queer kids in the audience today, this part of this Pride, it is about our representation, but it's not about us growing up in a community where there will be Pride events in the future, growing up in a community where we don't feel afraid to go outside to show affection with someone of the same sex, like Giselle said. Where we don't feel afraid to exist. It's about people who don't have that support system. It's about people who are just waiting to leave their house when they turn 18 just to feel like they can exist happily. For people who feel like there is no hope just because of the way that they were born. We're all doing this for them. And I thank you guys for making that sacrifice. Thank you guys for showing the people that feel like they don't have a voice, that they don't have the power to speak up, and they don't have a community surrounding them, so they will never win. I thank you for showing them that when a community rallies together, it is possible to win. It is possible to make change. It is possible to make noise. And so I encourage you going on to come to future marches, go to all of your events, make donations, do whatever you can, but also vote. That's a good one. I can't vote, but if you can, please do. But also a really important part of this is having important conversations, especially for the parents in the crowd. Take your kids home, read them books with representation, have conversations with them, answer their questions, give them resources. Do whatever you can to show them that there are people out there like them and there are people out there who love them. I get involved in events like these because it's so important to just add one more voice to the chorus. That's my favorite phrase. Because every single voice makes noise, and this out here is what I mean when I say adding your voice to the chorus. This is an amazing crowd, and thank you all for stepping out here and using your voice to show people that they matter.
You guys want to dance a little now? Woo! Thank you all. Thank you all. Dan's going to say a couple of things.
All right, we're actually going to move on with the program because we're all here, which is fine. I just want to thank you, ladies. You were wonderful. I appreciate everything you do. You can go party. Thank you so much. Congratulations. So we've got our drag queen coming up in just a couple minutes. I wanted to point out a couple of things. We have a reading of The Laramie Project coming up on June 23rd. This is a play about the death of Matthew Shepard, who was not much older than these young women when he was killed for being gay. It is a fascinating, empowering play. We've got Broadway veterans cast. We're casting local teens as well. So please join us on June 23rd at Darien High School. There is a poster about it right here in front of the DJ booth. You can scan the QR code and get your tickets right now. If I could ask Anthony if you could come up here, please, just for a second. We, the Pride Committee, are so grateful for you and your congregation for having us here that we decided you needed a Darien Pride staff t-shirt. So this belongs to the entire congregation, but you can keep it in your dresser. All right, speaking of Laramie Project, we have some sponsors. The Brian Morris team at William Pitt Sotheby's and Minnie of Fairfield County are the two marquee sponsors of that event. And also 1020 Post is sponsoring our pre-show cocktail party for our VIP tickets. All right, now on to some entertainment. You may not know that this young person was born and raised in Darien, has since moved on to New York City, but has not forgotten that Darien is a place for entertainment.
Just don't stand in front of the camera.
A place for love, a place for acceptance. Please welcome, for the first time in Darien, I believe, Boxa Crayon. reason, if I can explain the origin of your name, in non-drag life, Boxa is an art teacher. So this seemed like an appropriate name. I love it. And after the performance, after this moment here, she will be, I think, outside because it's much cooler.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Handing out some boxes of crayons to whoever would want them. So I just wanted to talk to you for just a minute because you were born and raised in Darien.
I was, and I graduated from Darien High School as well, so yes.
All right. So tell me your experience being a young queer person in Darien.
Oh, do we have enough time? Kidding. Yeah, I think the biggest thing was growing up in Darien, I didn't see a lot of people, I mean, at the time, I didn't see a lot of people that just looked like me or people that I wanted to be or wanted to see myself as. There just wasn't not nearly enough visibility, and also there were not conversations happening about it. I didn't know, the language to describe either my gender identity or sexuality, or to do drag but not be associated with something negative, that drag was something that was very positive and still part of the arts and entertainment, but was not, something that was negative. So I think the biggest thing that I'm just like, my mind is blown here because just how many people are here, how many people are visible, how we're just seeing each other and we're having conversations and talking about things that could have never been talked about at the time, especially I was in Darien High School, that nobody ever educated me about, that I just didn't know about. So I'm just so grateful because a lot of my discovery and journey happened after Darien High School, which I'm very grateful for. But just to come back here and see that you guys have just come leaps and bounds, and the fact that I can perform in drag in my town is something I never thought would happen. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and if anyone has any questions about literally anything, drag, gender, sexuality, what's the weather like, what am I having for breakfast tomorrow, come talk to me. I have crayons.
Well, one more huge round of applause. Boxa Grants, thank you so much. I hope this is going to be the first of your performances in Darien. Thank you so much. We've got those out, so feel free if you want to take a break, you can. I cannot speak to what this is. I'm overwhelmed. So many people helped us out. One sponsor I do want to point out is the first person to get me a check was Bob at the Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl, one of two that I know of out gay-owned businesses in town for another hour. As many of you may know, today is the last day that the three guys will be owning the Sugar Bowl. It's closing. I think it's going to be closed for a day, and then the owner of the Darien Butcher Shop is reopening it as the club with a lot of the same stuff. But I know they're not here. I know they're working, but I just want to thank Tony and Brian and Bob, not only for being our getting us our money for Darien Pride, but for supporting the town for decades. And speaking of gay-owned businesses, all of the flower arrangements on each of the tables was donated by Adam Manchuk of Flowers and Flowers. So thank you, Adam. And then it takes this village to put on an event like this. The arch that you see over the doorway, that is thanks to Federal Realty. So thank you. Darien Commons coming soon to a Norotan Heights near you. The Gardner Center, of course, did our flower crowns. Lindsay Donnelly Photography is wandering around and taking pictures of everyone. And the Darien DTC had paid for the tent, and we're not using it, but thanks anyway. I think we still have to pay for it. So, let's see. Oh, Palmer Palmer's also is sponsoring our hydration station, and thank you so much to Palmer's. And I think that is all of the thank yous. Don't forget, we've got our giveaways. These are our raffles, but it's free, so it's not really a raffle. Please enter your name. We will be doing drawings for the rest of the afternoon for all of these wonderful items. Don't forget the food trucks outside. Don't forget to buy tickets to the Laramie Project. Don't forget the puppies. And I just thank you all so much. We got another, 2 hours or so to party, so let's do that.